Hello everyone and welcome to Photo Finds. I'm your host, Gavin Hatch. Now this week's episode is going to be a little different at Photo Finds. We are doing something that I usually don't talk about, and that is stuff that is supposedly coming to the future in the parks. And what I want to talk about is the land that used to be Wet n Wild. That big chunk of land that Universal Orlando owns. Apparently, the Orlando Sentinel is reporting that documents have been filed, and we now have an idea of what that space is going to be used for over there at the corner of Universal Boulevard and International Drive. So let's dig a little deeper into this and talk about not only what used to be there, which was Wet n Wild, which I never took you guys to when I've been doing photo finds. I never went there, reported on Wet n Wild, so I wanted to show you some pictures of that park in the past. If you've been there before, or if you haven't been, I wanted to show you because I really enjoyed Wet n Wild. So we're going to talk about that, and I have some old pictures that Kevin E took on photo finds back in 2012. So some older photos, but it was a great park, so I want to kind of be a little nostalgic about that, but also talk about a little bit about Volcano Bay and mainly about what this space is reportedly going to be used for. Now, based on the paperwork that has been filed with the city of Orlando for construction permits and things like that, it looks like this huge chunk of land that we're looking at here, this aerial shot, this is, of course, again, the future or the past home of Wet n Wild. This is going to be the future site. We're thinking of the 7th on-site hotel for Universal Orlando. They actually are just starting construction on the 6th on-site hotel, which is going to be the Aventura Hotel, and that is across the street from Volcano Bay and Cabana Bay, and that is, like Cabana Bay, going to be a prime value resort. And we're thinking this 7th hotel will also be a prime value just because it's not really directly on Universal Orlando property. There is some land that's not theirs, such as Interstate 4, and also there's like a Walgreens there on International Drive that's kind of dividing the two spaces, even though they are next door neighbors. So they could probably make a really nice pedestrian bridge or walkway connecting the Universal Boulevard International Drive intersection property to the Universal Orlando parking structure or the other parks or even City Walk. Still be a little bit of a walk, but it still would be very nice. So you can see here, this is a huge chunk of land, not just where Wet n Wild was, but also there is, by looking at this old photo here, this is a huge lake that used to be and was used for some attractions in Wet n Wild. If you like doing like not water skiing, but wakeboarding. So they had all kinds of different things going on in this huge lake that I believe is a natural body of water. I'm pretty sure it was not man-made. And you can see there's a Westgate resort that also overlooks this. So I wonder how they're going to enjoy, having the guests, I should say, enjoy having the view of construction going on of this huge hotel maybe this huge hotel that would be going here in this plot of land. I think they're probably going to get rid of this lake and fill it in partially. Maybe they'll keep part of it and go ahead and just use this space for it's a big chunk of land right there. But across the street from Wet n Wild is their parking lot, and even a lot of land that wasn't even used. And it was more like a staging area where they would put all the slide pieces for Volcano Bay. That space there is even going to be able to be used as well. So again, it's a big bunch of land. It's a lot, and they can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So this hotel, if they are doing this the 7th on-site hotel, this could have over 4,000 rooms, which would be their largest hotel. And there's even enough space and talks about maybe even having like an entertainment district. So maybe another version of City Walk or extension of City Walk possibly, just for those hotel guests. So that would be a really cool thing to have. Now let's look at these photos here of Wet n Wild. I liked Wet n Wild. A lot of people kind of criticized it because it wasn't compared to the Disney parks that open up, Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. Of course, just like everything else Disney does, it's heavily themed, very immersive, and everything ties into a story. There's a storyline, there's characters, and there's something going on, and you're kind of part of it. And Wet n Wild didn't really do that. Wet n Wild was more just, you come in, the attractions themselves had a name. It wasn't just generically named. They did have a name, and the queues weren't really themed, but the slides themselves, especially towards late 90s, they started adding a lot more slides, such as Disco H2O, and that was kind of more immersive and had a theme to it. And I love Disco H2O. Well, look at that right here. This is really cool because you would get onto a raft and you would be inside this huge tube. It was kind of scary almost. You weren't really outside. It was dark, but they had all these disco lights going and all this really fun disco music, and I love disco music. So I was a big fan of Disco H2O. There's also The Surge, and my favorite, I think, the one that you'd go by yourself would be The Storm. That was really intense and quick, but very fun. And you had to be a strong swimmer for that one because you would kind of just fall and dump into this deep pool. It wasn't like a very shallow pool to just walk out of. You had to. It was kind of had some strong currents to it. So it was a really fun attraction there. Now, the cool thing about Wet n Wild was that lots of water parks didn't do. Most water parks you go by yourself. They were single person slides. Wet n Wild really was proud of having like family attractions. Most of the slides you go on, the rafts would hold multiple people, so you can go on it with mom and dad, you can go on it with your brother or sister, or together as a family. And Disney, had those, of course, and has those still, but a lot of their slides are more just, single person slides, which, when you are trying to bring a younger child to a water park, it may not work out so well because they are just too scared to go by themselves. So Wet n Wild really did a great job with, and I noticed a lot of families just being able to have a lot more fun together at this water park. Now, Volcano Bay, on the other hand, based on what I've seen so far and what we're seeing when it comes to the testing of the actual attractions right now, the slides, and the concept art, it looks like they're kind of following the same type of system when it comes to the setup of the slides and capacity. They want it to be family friendly and make sure that families can go on these things together. So I think it's going to be really wonderful. And you can see here, just looking at the photos of Wet n Wild, again, the slides themselves were themed, they were really fun, action-packed, and they were a good variety. They weren't all very similar. You weren't just going on the same kind of, I like to use the term cookie cutter. You're not doing the same thing over and over again, just in a different, area of the park and a different name. They were all very unique in their own way. You had the black hole, which was themed to like sci-fi, and it was scary. It was pitch black. The slides, you'd go with someone else, I think maybe even be able to hold 3 people, and you would go, and it would be not a quick ride. They would last. All the durations of these slides were pretty long. They weren't very, very quick. They weren't done in just a few seconds, and it was just really fun. It was a great park. It did have a different mixture of guests. You had a lot of international guests there, and you expect that. But being on International Drive and not being as costly as the Disney parks, it was just different. Very mixed clientele, and it definitely was old. It was there way before Universal Orlando was there, and it was there before Universal bought it, so it was never fully owned by Universal the whole time that was there. Universal did buy it in the 90s, I believe, and took over and really didn't put their name on it just because it really wasn't up to the same caliber of the theme park entertainment and quality that they're known for. So they would advertise it, you could buy it with your Universal tickets, but it really wasn't ever branded as Universal's park or water park. So that's why they wanted to go ahead and, I think, just move forward and create a whole new generation of water park with Volcano Bay and make it more themed and more of what Universal is known for doing, and that's creating immersive environments and just heavily themed areas. And I'm so excited. We've seen some testing going on recently. I snapped this picture of the volcano over at Volcano Bay, actually having water coming down it, and it looks so cool. It looks so great, and at nighttime this is going to be lit up very well, and it's just going to be an amazing experience. I cannot wait for Volcano Bay to open up on May 25th. And in the comments below, let's continue the conversation. Tell me what your thoughts are on the rumored new 7th hotel coming to Universal Orlando. That's going to add a lot of rooms. That's going to add over 10,000 rooms, I believe, at Universal Orlando Resort. Comcast came in and really wanted to change things and expand and grow, and did not like that they only had 3 hotels. So they quickly got into adding on more rooms, and they've done a great job. So, it's just, I'm so happy that Comcast came in and took over and really did put a lot of work into these parks and this resort. So very happy with that. But, let's, again, continue the conversation down below. Comment here on YouTube and tell me what your thoughts are about Wet n Wild. Did you enjoy it? Are you glad to see it go? Or were you glad to see it go? Are you excited for Volcano Bay? Again, the hotel. What do you think they should do with that land? If you don't think that it should be a hotel, what would you say they should do with it? There's a lot of space there, so they can do a lot of cool stuff. So continue the conversation below. Again, this was a very interesting kind of throwback photo finds, but I like talking about relevant stuff, even though I don't have a whole bunch of pictures because it hasn't happened yet. But I really want to know what y'all have to say and hear your opinions on everything that we talked about and what's going on with that space and with Universal Orlando in general. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to Attractions Magazine, do all that fun stuff, and make sure, most importantly, that you get out, you have fun, and you enjoy those parks.